As someone who has personally been over 34% body fat and actually obese for more than 24 years of my life, I was able to get as lean as 6% body fat. In today's lesson, I'm going to be sharing with you an 11-step protocol for you to do the same thing. This works so well that you can see results within days. The first step in your protocol is to get fat adapted. What does that mean? That means we are teaching your metabolism to burn fat instead of sugar. There are two easy ways to do this within a matter of days. Before I get to those two easy steps, here's why this is important. When we think about how the metabolism burns fat, there is a switch that needs to get turned off, and that switch is insulin. Insulin is a hormone in your body that also acts as an energy sensor. And when you have too many carbohydrates, insulin will be called to continuously store fat. This is called the fed state. What we want to do is teach your body to be in a fat burning state instead. And we do that by lowering our carbohydrate intake and increasing specific healthy fats. So the first step in your two-step protocol to get fat adapted is to gradually decrease your total carbohydrates to under 50 total grams per day. I don't expect you to do that in one day, as the average American is consuming over 300 grams of carbs per day. But I would say every day start chipping away to gradually decrease your carbohydrates until, let's say on day 5 or so of this protocol, your maximum intake of total carbs is no more than 50 grams per day. You're thinking, how do I know how many carbs I'm having? There's a bunch of free apps out there. The one that I use and recommend is a free app called Cronometer. You can download it for free over at cronometer.com/ketocamp. The second step here in this first step of the protocol is to follow something called the 2-2-2 rule. The 2-2-2 rule incorporates healthy quality fats to teach your metabolism to start burning fatty acids instead of sugar. So here is the 2-2-2-2 rule. You can see on the screen. The first two is 2 tablespoons of avocado oil or olive oil. The second two is 2 tablespoons of coconut oil or MCT oil. The third two in the 2-2-2-2 rule is 2 tablespoons of butter or ghee. And the fourth two is 2 teaspoons of sea salt to replenish your electrolytes. You want to hit this 2-2-2-2 rule every single day for the first 7 days. This is going to help your body make that switch to burning fat instead of sugar. The most popular question I get asked about this rule is, how do I consume all that fat in one sitting? You're not. You're going to be consuming those fats throughout the day. So think about the fats you use to cook your foods in, your salad dressings, your dips. You want to hit that for those first 7 days. After the first 7 days are done, and after you've lowered your carbohydrates under 50 grams per day, you could actually stop that 2-2-2-2 rule. It's only for the first 7 days. The second step here in your protocol is to practice early time restricted feeding. Some people also call this intermittent fasting. And the benefits of intermittent fasting are numerous, but when it comes to burning fat, intermittent fasting done the right way with the schedule I'm going to give to you, it's one of the best ways to lose serious fat. I'm talking about the fat around your belly, your love handles, and it happens really, really fast when you follow in this method of early time restricted feeding. The best fasting schedule for you to burn fat is to eat between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and to have 2 meals within that window, that eating window. Then you're going to fast outside of that window from 2 p.m. all the way to the next day at 8 a.m. During your fasting window, what is allowed is coffee, electrolytes, tea, water, no food. During your eating window, of course, you're going to be eating those quality fats and low carbohydrate, a keto approach essentially. The reason why it's laid out like this is because a lot of the research points out that we are designed, the metabolism is designed to burn calories and process calories more efficiently during the morning and early afternoon hours. If you are in the habit of eating later on in the day with fasting, yeah, you will benefit, but you won't burn as much fat as if you eat those calories earlier in the day. So the closer you could follow this early time restricted feeding window, the faster results you're going to get when it comes to burning body fat. The third step in your protocol is to get 90 minutes of deep delta sleep. Essentially, you go through 3 different stages when you are sleeping at night. The first stage is called light sleep. There are some benefits to light sleep, but not as it pertains to fat loss. The second stage is REM sleep. It stands for rapid eye movement. There are a lot of benefits to REM sleep as it pertains to memory function, recalling names, and just mental cognition. The third stage is called delta deep sleep. This is when your body is activating its fat burning hormones and you are burning a ton of fat. You actually burn more fat in delta deep sleep than you do exercising during the day. And you could track your delta deep sleep with an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, with a Whoop band, which is a watch. I personally use something called an Oura Ring, but you want to track it and aim to get 90 minutes. That's where studies show if you get 90 minutes of deep delta sleep each night, you're gonna burn a lot of fat. You're gonna wake up the next day also feeling refreshed, and you're gonna have hormones that are optimized to make better decisions so you're not hungry and hangry and you're not eating carbohydrates and processed junk. We know that studies show people who sleep 8.5 hours each night burn 400 more calories each day than those who sleep less than 6.5 hours per night. So some of my favorite ways to increase your delta deep sleep, even if you don't track, is number one, banana tea. Banana tea is like nature's NyQuil. You're not going to actually consume the banana, but here's how it works. The peel of the banana has more of these micronutrients, potassium and magnesium and others, than the banana itself. And when you grab a whole banana, organic, leave the peel on, chop off the ends and put it into a pot of water and let it boil until the peel starts to brown. Then you're going to pour that banana tea into a cup, discard the banana or put it into the freezer. You're just going to drink the tea. That is like nature's NyQuil. Calms the body. If you have racing thoughts at night, you're wired and tired, this helps put you in a calm state and helps you get ready for bed. Doesn't break a fast, it tastes mildly good, and it works really, really well. One of the other things you can do is keep your bedroom dark and cold. The darker your bedroom, the better. You could put a sleep mask on your face, or you could put blackout curtains, whatever works for you. Turn off the television, turn off any stimulations of lights, and take your phone out of the bedroom or plug it in somewhere far away. In a cold bedroom, studies show for deep delta sleep, somewhere between 62 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit is the sweet spot for deep delta sleep. One of the other things I recommend for deep sleep is taking high quality magnesium. About 400 to 600 milligrams per night allows you to achieve more deep delta sleep. I personally use 2 capsules from Bioptimizer's Magnesium Breakthrough, and I'll put a link with the coupon code for you to get that product if you'd like. One of the other things that I recommend doing is mouth taping. This sounds crazy, and my fiance makes fun of me all the time because I mouth tape at night. But when you mouth tape, it forces you to breathe through your nostrils. That is important because not only will you get more deep delta sleep breathing through your nostrils versus your mouth, but you also get more nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gaseous molecule that is responsible for something called vasodilation. Vasodilation allows more nutrients and blood flow and oxygen to be delivered to different cells within your body. It helps with fat loss, it helps with reversing cardiovascular disease and preventing cardiovascular disease. It also helps to lower blood pressure. So I simply put an adhesive over my mouth at night, wake up in the morning and take it off. Here's how you know you're breathing through your mouth at night. You wake up throughout the night or you wake up in the morning and your mouth feels dry. I personally am a mouth breather, so I have to train myself by using a piece of tape to force myself to breathe through my nostrils. The company that I use is from Somnifix. I'll drop a link for them in the notes down below. And the last tip on sleep here, especially as it relates to deep delta sleep and burning fat, is no food at least 3 hours before bed. Now, if you follow the second step here in your protocol, eating between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., there's no issue there. But on the weekends, you might get away from that schedule, and just make sure you're not eating at least 3 hours before bed. When you do so, it's going to prevent you from burning fat, it's going to disrupt your sleep, and it's going to leave you waking up the next morning feeling hungrier and wanting more carbohydrates. The fourth step here in your protocol is cold exposure. There are different ways to achieve cold exposure. You could do a cold bath, you could jump into a cold body of water, you could do cryotherapy, or you could cold plunge. Either way, it works. Here's how it works. Cold plunging is all the rage these days, and I personally think that the benefits are overhyped. But the studies show some really cool things, and I could tell you from experience, I've noticed it really helps with fat loss and other benefits. One of the key things that happens when you put your body into a cold body of water is something called Hunter's reflex. Okay, your body thinks you are dying. And that may sound like a bad thing, but here's the thing that happens. It takes all of this blood flow away from your extremities, your fingers and your toes, and it delivers it to your organs, and it gives you this vascular massage. And then when you get out of that cold exposure, it delivers it back, and it boosts your immune system. It increases your testosterone levels, very important for burning fat for both men and women, and It beiges and browns your fat. What do I mean by that? Well, the white fat in your body is the bad fat. White fat is the fat around your organs, your liver, your heart, your pancreas, the fat around your stomach and your love handles. When you are exposed to cold, that stress, it's a positive stress called a hormetic stress, actually converts white fat and beiges it and then browns it. It's brown because it's loaded with mitochondria, and the mitochondria help you produce energy, raises your basal metabolic rate, and helps you burn more calories without having to exercise to burn those calories. Another benefit to cold exposure is that you get a dopamine increase. A lot of people who struggle to stay on course with eating healthy have something called dopamine resistance. They need the carbs, the sugar, the ice cream, the pancakes, the cookies to get a dopamine hit because they're so dopamine resistant. With cold exposure, you get a 250% increase in your dopamine levels, but here's the difference with a cold exposure dopamine increase. You don't get a heavy crash. It actually helps you build mental resilience and make better decisions the rest of the day. It's one of the unknown benefits that people don't talk about when it comes to cold exposure. Ben, how much cold exposure should I do? I know you're thinking that. If you've never done it, start with 30 seconds at, let's say, 60 degrees Fahrenheit and build your way up. The sweet spot is this. The science shows you want to accumulate 11 minutes of cold exposure each week with a temperature under 60 degrees Fahrenheit or less. So that means you could do 3 minutes a few days until you get that 11-minute increments, or you could do 5 minutes, 1 minute. I mean, however you want to do it, but build your way up, and you want to make sure it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit or less. I personally do 2 to 3 minutes at a time at 50 degrees Fahrenheit until I get 11 minutes total each week. The plunge that I use, that I have in my backyard, you could see a photo of me using it. I call it the Keto Camp Plunge, but it's from plunge.com. It's awesome. It looks like a tub. It gets as low as 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and it looks super cool. And you can get your hands on a plunge with a nice discount, a few $100s off by going to plunge.com and using the coupon code KETOCAMP at checkout. The fifth step in your protocol is the opposite of cold exposure, and I am referring to hot exposure, heat therapy. There are a few ways that you could achieve heat therapy. You could take a really hot shower. Even better, you could get into a sauna. There are infrared saunas, there are dry saunas and steam saunas. They're all beneficial. The goal is to raise your core body temperature. And what happens is very similar to a cold plunge in the aspect that it stresses your body. And when you stress your body, the mitochondria within your body have to adapt to the stress. So there's something called heat shock proteins, and those heat shock proteins are very beneficial as it pertains to lower inflammation and increasing your basal metabolic rate. What's different about the heat exposure versus the cold exposure is that when you're in a heat therapy, it vasodilates your cells. Vasodilation means it expands your blood vessels, and that's very beneficial because when you expand your blood vessels, it allows oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to deliver to cells more efficiently, healing areas that need to be healed. With cold exposure, the previous tip, it vasoconstricts, which is also beneficial. When you get out, then it opens up. So they're both beneficial, just in different ways. I personally use a Sunlighten infrared sauna. They're terrific. You can see me using the sauna right here. It has a TV screen. It's pretty badass. I have it here in my backyard, and you could get your hands on their product, any of their Sunlighten saunas, by going to the link down below and using the coupon code KETOCAMP or mentioning Ben Azadi for up to $600 off their sauna. The sixth step in your protocol is to incorporate these fat-burning supplements proven by science to help you ramp up fat burning. First one is apple cider vinegar. We know apple cider vinegar, the research shows it boosts metabolism, suppresses appetite, and reduces fat storage. Here are the three major benefits to be mindful of. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, which has been shown to ramp up metabolism, curb cravings by up to 600 calories per day, and inhibit fat storage. Apple cider vinegar also helps with digestion. It stimulates your liver to produce bile, to break down fat and assimilate those fatty acids, which are really important for your metabolism. And apple cider vinegar helps with blood sugar stabilization, which is very important because it helps to lower insulin and helps you burn fat faster. The best time to consume apple cider vinegar is 15 to 20 minutes before your meals. There are different ways to consume apple cider vinegar. You have the liquids out there. If you want to get a good brand, just dilute it and drink it through a straw so it doesn't burn your throat or corrode your teeth. Then there are gummies, which I do not recommend because they typically don't even have enough apple cider vinegar to get the benefits, and they're loaded with sugar and artificial ingredients. Then we have capsules. I personally use and love and recommend the capsules. It's an apple cider vinegar capsule, a complex from Paleo Valley. I take 2 to 3 before my biggest meal each day, and I'll drop a link with the coupon code for them down below. The next supplement is actually a drink, and it's coffee. Yeah, great news, but it has to be the right coffee. Now, coffee has a powerful polyphenol called chlorogenic acid, CGA, and this polyphenol tells your body's fat cells to burn their fatty acids for fuel. This is the same mechanism that statin drugs use to lower cholesterol without the potential side effects. CGA cuts cravings, suppresses appetite, and activates the liver to produce more bile, aiding in detoxing your cells and also assimilating fat-soluble vitamins. It helps the liver to process fats and glucose more efficiently by lowering triglyceride levels and stabilizing blood sugar levels. A Norwegian study found that women who drink high CGA coffee dropped 3 times more weight than those who consume lower CGA brews. You want to consume a medium roast as opposed to a dark roast. Once the beans are beyond medium, they've lost a whopping 75% of their fat-blasting polyphenols. Also, coffee grown in high altitudes with extreme temperature changes produce the most polyphenols. The company that I use and endorse and recommend the cleanest, best tasting coffee in the world to get all this amazing polyphenols that I'm referring to is Purity Coffee. They're amazing. You can get their coffee over at KetoCampCoffee.com. Use KetoCamp at checkout for a nice discount. In addition to that, there are 5 key ingredients proven through research to help you burn fat. The first one is called African mango. African mango promotes weight loss, especially around the waist and the hips. Then we have raspberry ketones. Raspberry ketones helps your body produce ketones, but also raises a hormone in your body called adiponectin, which is a very important fat-burning hormone inside of your body. Then we have L-carnitine. L-carnitine is an amino acid that helps your mitochondria burn fat. Think of it as a bus that delivers fatty acids to your mitochondria. Very beneficial for the metabolism. Then we have green tea leaf extract. It contains a compound called EGCG, and this helps to kickstart your metabolism, and some studies suggest it helps to target belly fat. And lastly, we have forskolin extract, which is derived from mint plants to aid in weight loss by helping your body balance your appetite hormone called leptin. Now, you could do a search for these different ingredients and get them all separately, or you can do what I do and what I recommend to my Keto Camp Academy students, and that is to use a product called Radical Metabolizer by Unikey that has all of these ingredients I just mentioned. I simply take 2 capsules in the morning and then 1 capsule at lunchtime, and you get all those amazing ingredients in a capsule form, and it's high quality. And if you go to unikey.com/ketocamp and use the coupon code KetoCamp10, you'll get 10% off your order. I'll drop that link down below. The 7th step in your protocol is to walk after every meal, or at least your biggest meal of the day. The goal here is to optimize postprandial blood glucose levels. What does that mean? Postprandial means after eating. The higher your blood sugars rise after eating and the longer it stays up, the more your body has to produce insulin. And the more it produces insulin, the more it signals to your metabolism to store fat instead of burning fat. Now, the quicker we could lower those postprandial glucose levels, the less insulin produced and the faster you burn body fat. When you eat food, you convert food into strings of sugar called glycogen, and that is stored in your liver and muscle cells, and it only has a certain amount of capacity. The rest is stored in body fat. And the higher your blood sugars go after eating, the more is turned into body fat. One of the best ways to optimize that postprandial blood sugar is to go for a 30-minute walk after your meals, or at least your biggest meal of the day. When you do this, it activates the GLUT4 transporters to shuttle that glucose in your bloodstream into your muscle and liver cells and use it for energy versus fat storage. Check out the study, the effects of postprandial walking on the glucose response after meals with different characteristics. Postprandial brisk walking substantially reduced the glucose peak in both studies, with no significant differences across conditions. When evaluating the glycemic response through the 2 hours post-meal, postprandial walking was more effective even after consuming low carb, high carb, or a mixed carbohydrate meal. Although higher glucose values were observed when drinking a higher carbohydrate meal, this carbohydrate drink, Our findings show that a 30-minute postprandial brisk walking session improves the glycemic response after meals with different carbohydrate intake and macronutrient composition, the implications for postprandial exercise prescription in daily life scenarios. So if you're not in the habit of walking after meals, hopefully that inspires you to do so. The number 8 tip in your protocol here is to avoid these inflammatory fats that actually cause more inflammation and more weight gain than sugar and smoking. These are called polyunsaturated fatty acids. Other names for them include vegetable oils, seed oils, and linoleic acid. The reason why they're so inflammatory is because the chemical structure of these fats make them unstable. You see, the word poly means many. So the chemical structure means these fats have many double bonds. The more double bonds fats have and the more closely they're located to each other, the more unstable they become. So when they're introduced to high heat temperatures and pressure, which is what they use to process these oils, they become rancid. They oxidize. If I were to bite into an apple and leave it on my counter here and come back 5 hours later, it turns brown. It oxidizes. That's exactly what these fats are doing to your cells. And it blocks your fat burning hormones, it creates disease, and it leads to a poor quality of life. So here are the following 9 fats you want to avoid as much as possible. We have canola oil, called rapeseed oil in the UK. We have corn oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, rice bran oil, grapeseed oil, refined peanut oil, and I would even throw fish oil into that mix. Fish oil is not healthy for you, and it doesn't matter how well the fish oil is processed. Instead, what you want to do is consume monounsaturated fats and saturated fats. Monounsaturated fats contain 1 double bond. Saturated fats contain none. They are very stable. They're actually the building blocks of your cell membranes. Your cell membranes are where you have these receptor sites for your fat burning hormones to connect and tell your cells to burn fat. So when you give your cells what it loves, the building blocks, it's going to allow good things in, like your hormones, and bad things out, like toxins. So the best fats to cook your foods in include butter, ghee, beef tallow, duck fat, and lard from non-hydrogenized organic pastured pigs. The best fats for salad dressings and dips include avocado oil, coconut oil, and extra virgin olive oil. Now the tricky part is when you're at restaurants. I know for many years I would tell the restaurant server that I'm allergic to these oils. Can you use a healthier option? And then I ended up creating this seed oil allergy card, which I'm gonna give to you for free. But on this card, it shows those bad fats that you're allergic to, that you do not want to consume, and the healthier swaps. You simply show those to the server so you don't take that hit. Because by the way, these vegetable oils, these rancid fats I just spoke of, they stay in your body for a very long time. The half-life is 680 days, meaning if you stopped eating them today, about 2 years later, half of them will be around your cell membranes and mitochondrial membrane, creating inflammation. So you don't want to take the hit. Get the seed oil card over at seedoilcard.com and use it wisely. The 9th step in your protocol is to be aware of this specific ingredient in even healthy foods, I'm putting that in quotation marks, which actually create inflammation and fat gain. The ingredient I'm referring to is high fructose corn syrup. And you might say, yeah, that's obvious, Ben. I avoid that already. But here's the thing. They have different names and they're hidden in a lot of products. So we're going to identify those names for you to be aware of. The top 10 products out there that contain high fructose corn syrup are flavored yogurts, granola bars, protein bars, breakfast cereals, smoothies and fruit juices, salad dressings, condiments like ketchup and barbecue sauce, whole wheat and multigrain breads, sports drinks like Gatorade, Powerade, and others, and instant oatmeal. This ingredient is mitochondrial poison. It leads to fatty liver disease, inflammation, and weight gain. No matter how much you exercise or how much you cut calories, if you consume high fructose corn syrup, you are not going to achieve the weight loss you desire. High fructose corn syrup does not trigger the same feelings of fullness as other nutrients, leading to increased food intake. The lack of satiety can cause individuals to eat more than necessary, contributing to weight gain. High fructose corn syrup has also been linked to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. High fructose corn syrup disrupts normal functioning of your hunger hormones such as leptin and ghrelin, and this disruption can lead you to having a bigger appetite and cravings for processed foods. High fructose corn syrup leads to higher levels of triglycerides in your bloodstream, which is a type of fat, and it's very inflammatory. And high fructose corn syrup leads to oxidative stress and inflammation, especially the inflammation around the membranes, which block your fat burning hormones from doing their job. Here are the hidden names of high fructose corn syrup that you want to be aware of. Read the ingredients and make sure it does not contain this. Corn syrup, glucose fructose syrup, isoglucose, maize syrup, fructose glucose syrup, tapioca syrup, fruit fructose, glucose syrup, glucose fructose syrup, and high fructose maize syrup. One of the companies that I use and recommend is like Whole Foods meets Costco to get high quality foods and products delivered to your front door is Thrive Market, and you could check them out and get a nice discount, 30% off your first order and a free gift by clicking the link in the notes down below. The 10th step in your protocol is to take the most powerful anti-inflammatory supplement, fat-burning supplement in the world. It's called vitamin G. Now, vitamin G has been shown to improve your immune system by lowering cortisol and increasing IgA, which protects your immune system. It's also been shown to lower blood pressure. It's been shown to lower blood sugar levels. It helps to put your body in a nice, calm, relaxed, detoxification, fat-burning state. Dr. Joe Dispenza has done brain scans and seen 1,200 chemicals take place instantaneously to put the body and the brain in a healing state. When they take vitamin G, he saw GABA, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all from vitamin G. So vitamin G, I don't have an affiliate link and a coupon code because vitamin G is gratitude. It is the practice of gratitude. And those studies are real studies on gratitude. There is no upper limit to vitamin G. You can take as much as you want, and you're going to put your body in an anti-inflammatory healing state. Take it often, but the secret is not treating vitamin G like a checklist, but feeling the gratitude. This is a universal law. What you feed energy into expands, and what you think about, you bring about in your life. So if you're not getting your daily consumption of vitamin G, do so starting today. And you can start with this video. For those watching on YouTube instead of listening on the podcast, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you have vitamin G for today? The final step in your protocol is to have a feast day. This might sound counterintuitive, but I'm telling you, it works really well. What I mean by a feast day, I'm not calling it a cheat day, by the way, but I'm saying a day, one day out of the week, where you actually don't fast, have more carbs, and less fat, and you feast it up all day. This creates adaptation. This forces your body to adapt. Every great personal trainer and fitness coach understands the benefit of adaptation. For example, if you've ever worked with a high quality personal trainer, they're always changing up your workout. One week it's high rep, low weights. The next week it's completely different movements. It keeps the body guessing and adapting. This creates hormone optimization. And when you are eating clean, let's say Monday through Saturday, following intermittent fasting, doing keto like I just recommend, and then you throw in a day where it's the complete opposite, no fasting, higher healthy carbs, it actually forces an adaptation response. And that adaptation response actually prevents plateaus. And if you're in a plateau right now, it helps you break the plateau. But here's the thing I want you to do on that higher healthy carb day. It's a low fat day. You want to keep your fats under 40 grams of total fat per day. You don't want high fat and high carbs per day. And then you also want to do something called meal pairing. You want to start that meal with the proteins and fats and finish it with the carbohydrates. There's a lot of research showing the benefits of eating your carbohydrates last. This study from the Weill Cornell Medical Center showed researchers conducted a study with 11 patients who had type 2 diabetes and were taking metformin. Participants ate the same meals in different sequences, carbohydrates first, followed by protein and vegetables, and then reversed the order the next week. Results showed that the blood glucose levels were 29%, 37%, and 17% lower at the 30, 60, and 120-minute mark after the meal when eating protein and vegetables first before the carbohydrates. Another study, the Japanese study on food order, showed similar results in a different population. Participants consumed vegetables, protein, and fat before carbohydrates, leading to significantly lower blood glucose and insulin levels compared to when they ate carbohydrates first. This suggests that starting a meal with non-starchy vegetables and proteins can slow gastric emptying and enhance the secretion of hormones that help to regulate blood sugar. Those are the 11 steps for you to achieve optimal weight loss and sustainable weight loss. If you love this video, check out a recent video I just released on 5 things to do before bed to help you burn fat during sleep. You actually burn more fat getting delta sleep than you do at the gym. I see so many people doing crazy things trying to burn belly fat, taking dangerous supplements, doing fad diets, doing extreme workouts, when in reality, if you just did a few of these things before bed, you're gonna burn a ton of belly fat.